Welcome to Focus on the Five, conversations with Baldwin County business leaders and entrepreneurs, brought to you by Josh Knoll of Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. And now, Josh Knoll.
Hi everyone, welcome to Focus on the Five, conversations with Baldwin County Alabama area entrepreneurs and business leaders. I'm your host, Josh Knoll with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. We're coming to you today from the studios of WABF 1480, located in beautiful downtown Fairhope, Alabama. Our guest today has worked over the years, many years, to establish a true custom home construction company, surviving the crash of 2008, but going on to establish a really vibrant and unique company that's flourishing in what is really one of the fastest growing counties, not in just Alabama, but also really along the Gulf Coast, right? Here in Baldwin County. So with that said, let's give a big welcome to Mr. Rob Davis of Monarch Homes. All right. Rob, how you doing?
Doing well, Josh. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, Rob, let's before we dive into where you're at now, everybody likes the origin story. We have a lot of entrepreneurs that are starting to pay attention to this show. I get some feedback from them. And just like when the movies, the most fun movie is when the origin story. So what led to the establishment of Monarch Homes, Monarch Properties? Where did Rob Davis, the builder, originate?
Well, I am originally from Northern Virginia, and I kind of grew up in the construction and real estate fields. My parents were in both fields growing up, and so I was introduced through them really into those fields. And when we moved down here, I really wanted to, right out of college, I got my real estate license, and I was a practicing realtor, have been since then. So, but I always had the desire to get back into the construction field and do that as a full-time basis. And when we moved down here, we saw potential down here, and like seeing the fruit and nut area, doing a lot of remodels, and maybe going in there, fixing some of these little houses up, and turning and selling them was kind of the plan when we moved down here.
Okay.
But
well, had you done that? You said Northern Virginia. Were you in the Washington D.C. area?
Exactly. We were inside the Beltway, and we actually did a house up there that. It was a great location, but just a terrible house, and we ended up gutting it and fixing it up, and made a pretty good profit on it, and ended up taking that profit and moving down to Fairhope.
Kind of gave you your springboard.
It was hard to move, especially with a young family.
So you had young kids at the time coming down?
I had two little ones at the time, two little girls, Samantha and Mary, and but that helped us get down here, get established, and get going. We really knew we wanted to move down to this area, and that enabled us to do that.
Did you and your wife have family from this area, or?
My wife's parents lived here.
Okay.
They had retired here a few years earlier, and so that familiarized us with the area and Fairhope. We knew we loved it here, and we could really see raising our family here.
Right. So you come down, and the idea was, hey, what we just did in Northern Virginia, let's rinse repeat. How did that go right at the beginning?
Things did. We originally saw the fruit and nut area, and we said, hey, this would be perfect to come in and buy a little house and fix it up and then turn and sell it. And I thought that would just be such a great deal, because that's what we did up in Virginia. But then we got a little sticker shock down there.
Imagine
tiny
that.
little house, cracker box house, ended up being, $300,000 or $400,000.
Right, which in Washington D.C. wouldn't have been a great surprise, but coming down here was probably like, what the heck?
It was kind of a shock. I quickly figured out that for the same amount of money, you can go 5 miles outside of town, and in a subdivision, you can build a brand new home that's 2,500 square feet. It's big windows, 9-10 foot ceilings, and all that, and it seemed like you just got a lot more for your money as a builder, and a lot more I could sell as a business. And that's when I started doing new construction.
All right, yeah. So you and I had talked. My new construction career kicked off from the fact that almost identical story where we had remodeled a house, sold it, and we were going to go maybe remodel something else, but again, we had sticker shock. Now this would have been in Kansas City. But then we went out in the suburbs, and I thought, I grew up doing this. Why do I need to pay somebody to build a house? Honestly, would you, remodeling sometimes harder than building new construction. Would you agree with that?
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah, you just never know what you're getting into, especially these older homes.
Right.
And I always say figure twice as much money and twice as much time when you're doing remodeling.
Oh yeah, once
like
you
that.
start digging in, there's no telling what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So was your first new construction then, was it a house for yourself?
No, it was a spec house, and I was full-time real estate at the time, and kind of did it on the side.
Okay.
And we did one little house over near Fairhope High School.
What year would this been? Do you mind if I ask?
Gosh, I think
It's been a while.
I think 2006.
Okay, you've seen some changes.
2007, yeah.
Okay.
So we got in there and built that, one house on the side, and it sold right away.
Right.
So it was like, okay, well that worked out well. So I think the next year we built 3 houses.
All right.
And I mean, they would sell before you could finish them. So like, well, this is really going well. So
right.
we kind of upped our game a little bit. And at the time you start, at that time in the market, you would buy a bunch of lots together.
Right.
And then you'd build a spec house or 2.
Right.
And then off those spec houses, you'd sell the other, houses off the other lots that you owned. And that was kind of the modus operandi that we were following there. Right. And so I think
it was a great model when it worked.
We were doing 10 or 12 a year, and just that's our comfort level, and we were going and blowing.
All right. Well, so your homes are, not only are you one of the busier custom home guys around here, but you're also known for great attention to detail. Did you start, I'm going to use my career as a comparison. My first home that I built on my own was a nice house, but compared to the 50th home that I did, I came miles in detail work. Did you come right out of the chute doing this detail work? Is that something you'd already learned?
No. Obviously, over time, each house, you take a little bit from each house you build, and you use that experience in building your next house. And the things that work and the things that don't work. Mm-hmm. And you try to, as time goes on, you take, you get more quality you put into your homes, and you really, you just build on each house.
Well, and did you have a background in any of the trades? Was there any piece that you know how to do on your own?
Sure. Yeah, I do try to keep my foot into the construction process as best I can. I usually do all my trim work.
Okay.
And
that's a huge piece.
Yeah, hanging doors, and if you just build a house on paper and you hire other people to do it all, you kind of lose your focus there. Right. So I like to be a part of it and still do a lot of the work myself.
Well, as doing the work yourself, as time has gone on with the detail work, have you found that has led you into a particular niche? Do you have a target custom home type of?
Well, each person is individual. Each house is individual. So we take what the client expects and would like out of a house and try to build it for them. We can go as detailed or as little as possible, but what I really enjoy doing is the details in the house, doing little special things at a house that really
make it
for
that
that particular owner. Yeah, I mean, anybody can build a basic house, but really to turn it into a home, it's a unique to that individual.
Right. Well, and a lot of times people akin size to level of niceness, but for example, probably the nicest home I ever built was about 3,500 square foot, right? So I would think with your niche and your line of work, you probably get to pack it in, all the details. You can walk into the kitchen and have 30, 40 different details in one particular kitchen.
Certainly. It's, and you can do, I really enjoy, the clients that really put a lot into their house and really customize their house and allow us to put the detail into a house mm-hmm. that really makes it a unique home. You can't always do that, budgets and all that kind of thing, but those are the ones that I really enjoy.
Do you have, I mean, typically, is it a married couple would be your client? Do you have like a particular type of client that picks up the phone and calls Monarch Homes?
Well, a lot of my business comes from word of mouth,
right,
and a repeat business, and we're not a huge company, and we like to keep it that way as far as really want to do have a hands-on experience in building the house. And it's hard when you're building 20 houses, it's hard to really do that.
Right.
So our company, I guess, is kind of boutique in a way,
right,
where you want to take the individual from the very beginning, from the planning stages to the through the financing stages, through actually building the house, and we
right,
want to become partners with the client and walk them through the whole process and make decisions through the whole process, each individual decision, So,
well, Lori, what he just said was my commercial. I don't know if you caught all that, but you just described my practice to a T, so thank you for that. Only
no problem.
Only financial. So.
Well, I think it's important.
I mean, there's an itch for it.
Anybody can build a house.
Yeah.
But really, to make it special and make it a home, you need to have a partnership with the people.
Totally
and,
agree.
I think it makes a big difference.
Everybody gets in lockstep in those things. Well, so you started, you mentioned earlier 2005, 2006. So what changes have you seen in
well, we were just rolling.
This area, Fairhope particular?
Yeah, we were just rolling right along. We could,
sure.
And it came to a point where you really, as soon as you built it, the house would sell
right,
before you finished it.
We had stuff as soon as we got framed.
Yeah, and people were just clamoring to get houses at the time. So there was no, you just build and buy as much as you could.
Right.
But then the market crashed pretty hard,
right,
and the banks kind of decided they didn't like lending money anymore.
How'd you talk me into lending you so much money?
We had, back then the line of credit was just, you'd drive around and you'd say, I want that, and you'd buy it.
That's right.
And but you couldn't really do that anymore because the banks kind of
whiplashed pretty hard.
Kind of locked up, and
it went too far this way with it, and then they went too far the other way with it.
Really, the way things turned around, instead of buying 10, 20 lots at a time and building spec houses, we kind of went to custom homes.
Right.
So looking for a custom home, somebody wanted a house, then we would contract with them to build their custom home.
Right.
So that's kind of, we do occasional spec houses here and there, but that's kind of gone out the window now. Now it's mostly contract houses.
Right. Well, and that puts you in a different type of market. I mean, that
it does. The homes were, larger,
right,
and when you're doing spec houses, you're looking to build a nice house, but you don't necessarily do all the customization that you might do with working with an individual through the whole process.
Right. Well, that's a great jumping off point. We're going to do a quick station identification. For those of you just joining us here on WABF 1480 AM, this is Focus on the Five, conversations with Baldwin County Alabama entrepreneurs and business leaders. I'm your host, Josh Knoll, and I'm joined today by Mr. Rob Davis of Monarch Homes. So, Monarch Homes, Rob, is actually 3 separate but integrated companies. Is that correct? Let's talk about that.
It is. It's we have the construction aspect of it, and I'm also a real estate broker.
Now, the construction would be the custom home side with the occasional spec.
True.
Okay.
True. Yeah, and I'm also have been a real estate agent, and I'm a real estate broker since I got out of college, which is 30 some years. And I have a property management background as well.
Okay.
When I got out of college, I worked for a property management company. So really the 3 interact very well together, I've found. There's a lot of great talented builders out there.
Right.
But often they don't communicate very well with their clients. And I think the real estate side of things shows me the importance of pretty good communication with my clients. And a lot of the problems that arise in building a home are lack of communication.
Right.
So,
Well, you're talking oftentimes, and I've said this before, your investments and your retirement accounts are, generally speaking, your second most emotional investment that you will make as a married couple. You know what your first number one is? Your home.
your home.
Yeah, especially if you build a custom home.
Well, it's not just that. You know, we have the property management side of things, and a lot of people will rent, change their life, go to a retirement home or what have you, and they want to, instead of selling their house, they want to keep their home and rent it.
Right.
So there's that aspect, which is very personal.
But they want to rent, but they don't necessarily want to deal with the headache of everyday
True.
tenants. So you can step in and help with that.
Of course. Well, people don't, if they've been in a house 30 years, it's, very personal to them.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's
they
like
they need to know that someone's there taking care of, not only renting it, but taking care of the house for
Right.
them. And we try to do that. And so that aspect of things is very personal to a home, to somebody leasing their home, but also the construction. I mean, this is a place where they're going to raise their family.
Right.
They want to, be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do the things to their home that, that makes it a home to them, makes it a home for their children. They
Right.
want to. So it's
They-
all very, very personal.
They view it as they're building a forever home.
True.
Now that may or may not play out, but when they're building the level that you build, they're building a forever home.
True.
Hey, this is, a lot of times it's kind of an achievement. So, all right, Rob, would you mind to walk? So I'm assuming with the three separate companies, then you probably have some overlap among the clients. You have some overlap on the clients, right? You have the custom home built buyer.
Sure. And we do, the three, the construction, the property management, and the real estate obviously work hand in hand in many different ways. Being in real estate for so long, when I'm developing a plans for a client, I can guide them through it. I know what works. I know what sells.
Right.
Sometimes people don't want to, they just want to do something, but I might say, hey, look, people don't like stucco,
Right.
for instance, because it's a negative to a home.
Right.
So I might
Especially down here, moisture.
Exactly. I might
right.
advise them against doing something like stucco because I know it has a hard time selling on the open
30-minute
market.
conversation can save you years of hassle.
Yeah, and we try to design, in the design process of building a home, things that, people of age might get, want a shower that doesn't have curbs in it, for
Right.
instance, a kind of a walk-in shower.
I kind of need that right now with my dusty.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a lot of aspects where the real estate field will help you in the construction field, and the construction field will help you in the, you always have contractors available for property management to take care of things.
Well, it keeps your fingers on the pulse. I obviously, I have clients, especially with real estate doing so well, they'll come to me and say, hey, I want to build a home on the side, or I want to do property, I want to be a landlord on the side. And my thing to them is, if you never done it before, it takes a while to get it in your blood. It just does. It takes a while for you to get your finger on the pulse so that you don't make monumental mistakes when it comes to these things. So you've already been down that road with those things. You've already proven on that. When someone, back to the custom home, when I'd asked you earlier before we came on air, if you had a particular price range, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's more, is it fair to say that a lot of times you're building, would a retirement dream home be an accurate statement for some of what you're doing?
Absolutely. Certainly around here, there's a lot of retirees and
Right.
a lot of people moving from other areas to Fairhope. And certainly, you need to customize it for that typical clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And so certainly, I think a lot of people in other areas expect a certain quality of home, from big cities and things like that.
Right.
And we're certainly here. We want to work with them to give them what they
Well,
want.
and on the reverse side of that, I had a realtor on the show a couple months ago, and we were talking about fruit and nuts specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, a lot of times people are coming out of big cities where they were paying I mean, ridiculous amount of money for a one-bedroom apartment. So they come down here and they see those numbers. They're not as quite a sticker shock. But you know, $700,000 for a 2-bedroom teardown is not chump change.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But no, I think you can. This is a great area to build in, and I think things are only going to get better and better around here.
Right, I agree. All right, so I know that a part of your brand is personal attention, personal service. Can you walk someone through kind of the process once they get a hold of you, once they're referred to you, or maybe they hear this show and they will reach out to you, they decide that they're going to have, you know, Rob Davis of Monarch Homes build them a home. What's the process like?
Well, ultimately it's a turnkey process. We take them from the very beginning, from the plan, designing phase of it. I work with some great plan designers and engineers that will develop the plans for them, and we'll have them come. We'll all sit down together and we'll kind of put together some plans. We of course have a lot of plans that we've built that you can take and then customize, personalize it to the client. So we'll take that and then we'll have to find them a lot.
Right.
And
sometimes that's probably the biggest headache.
Sometimes they already have a lot. Sometimes we need to find them a lot. So the real estate obviously helps there.
Right.
We're of course members of the Baldwin County MLS, and we have all services available to us to help find them a good lot, and then we'll partner up through the whole construction process, and we'll go shopping with them. To pick appliances and fixtures.
Do you serve as your own superintendent, more or less? Is that, or do you have a separate?
Usually, we we always have day-to-day interactions, one way or another, whether it's with me or other people that work with us. Right. But day-to-day, hand in hand, we'll get through the process, and it's a great process. I hear all the time, oh, I didn't want to go through that construction process.
Right. Well, because sometimes they've been through a bad one in the past.
Yeah, and I just don't understand that.
And usually they went through a bad one because there was lack of communication.
I think so. But I think it's a incredible process. It should be fun. It should be exciting. You're building your home where you're going to live in and raise your family, or retire, or whatever you're going to do. And so I think it's a lot of fun, and it really should. People shouldn't be scared off by it at all.
I would think that you probably, and similar a little bit to my line of work, but you probably develop long-term relationships with all your clients.
Absolutely.
Clients.
Some of my best friends today are former clients that I've had, and repeat business and all that kind of stuff.
That's a testament to how you treated them.
I've had
and how you performed.
Some of my I've built 5 or 6 houses with them. So they've moved, gone to the next house.
That sounds like capital gains captures. Yeah. Gone
to the next house. It's been fantastic.
That's fun. All right. So how do people now? I imagine that your daughter is going to be watching this, right, and critiquing.
I'm sure she will.
Right,
I'm sure she will.
So we need you. Let's go ahead and plug her because I have a reason for that. What's your daughter's name?
I have 2 daughters, Mary Davis,
okay,
and she lives in Dallas, and my oldest is Samantha, and she lives in Nashville.
Which one's handling the Instagram account?
That'd be Samantha.
All right, so Samantha.
Yes. Samantha's in marketing. She lives in Nashville, and she works for a national tire company, and she's doing all their marketing for them.
Wow.
She's really the marketing, social media, that aspects of things where I'm maybe lacking.
Right.
Some of us older folks are a little bit lacking in the social media parts of business, but I realize how important it is, and I think it's where we're going.
It is.
With me.
Well, I found you from Instagram.
Exactly.
I am not to. I don't want to make it appear as if I was just the best builder of all time. I was not. But we had a niche, and we did a good job. And what leads me to be a little picky when I'm looking at home stuff, right? And I just started noticing that Monarch Homes kept popping up on my feed, which means, the big brother was watching my eyeballs watch these pictures, right? And I was like, boy, whoever's doing this stuff is nice. So I reached out to you through Instagram. That's how we started this whole journey. Unbeknownst to me, I was actually reaching out to your daughter was answering the thing, but we set it up.
She was answering it as me. Huh?
Yeah, answering as you, yes.
Okay.
But you did, I mean, it's done one of the things when you build a beautiful home and with the level of camera quality that we have today, it just naturally leads itself to beautiful pictures. And that's what she's done.
Yeah, well, I've always had a nice website, and in real estate, 20 years ago, it was one of the few real estate active websites out there, and we did a lot of business that way. But people will fight that at the time, that, you really don't, you got to do it the old school way.
That's right.
But we got so much business off our website.
Right.
But I think it's even evolved now more than it's Instagram and Snapchat.
It's like this whole universe.
I mean, who knows what's going to be next?
Oh gosh, I think it's all going to be kind of virtual reality stuff next. But I'm just worried about getting this part figured out. You know what I mean? There's only so much this brain can handle.
I know it. Well, that's why I'm getting Samantha down here to, I'll do the building, and she'll keep me up to date with all that stuff.
Well, she'll get you in front of the eyeballs. It absolutely makes a difference when people have to know you're there, have to find you. So, and it'd be another piece to your business, along with all the networking and the referrals, to have things where people are finding you like they are, obviously. So, speaking of, I'm going to plug your Instagram handle because you may not know it. Do you know your Instagram handle?
I think so, yeah.
All right, go ahead. Let's see if it matches mine.
Monarch _custom_homes.
Yes, all right. So
okay, good.
For those of you all on Instagram, Monarch, MONARCH _custom_homes is how you find Rob's Instagram account. What's your website address?
It's Rob Davis. Well, my email address is robdavis@robdavishomes, but my website is robdavishomes.com.
robdavishomes.com. Okay.
Correct.
Can people find you? Is there a good phone number to reach you at? Do you prefer email, physical location? How do people find you?
Any way they can, but my phone number is 251-751-1113.
Okay. And let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Again, that's 251-751-1113.
All right. So what do you have? Anything coming up? Any fun projects that you can mention that you got going? Anything you'd like to?
Well, every house we do is just another adventure.
Right.
And I've got some in the pipelines that we're real excited about, and working on some right now also. It just really turned into beautiful homes.
Oh, that's great. All right. Anything you'd like to add?
Just really enjoy Fairhope. Love being here. Love being on the radio.
All right. Well, if on that note, if you all are a regular listener of the show, we're going to use this one right here, right? Is that what we decided, Lori? So,
Yes.
So if you're a regular listener of the show, then you know that we also film this conversation and we release it across multiple social media platforms. So if you're watching this video of Rob and I talking and you'd like to reach out to either one of us, just shoot us a direct message. I will answer mine. It may be Samantha answering Rob's, but it all gets to the same spot, right? Lastly, if you're a Baldwin County area entrepreneur or business owner and you would like to have a conversation like we've had here, reach out to us. You'll find my contact info in my incredibly overlong and melodramatic financial advisor disclosure at the end of the show. I don't know if you've ever hung around for the end of my shows or not. Even though we talked nothing about what I do, I have to put this 1 minute disclosure on it.
You got to plug yourself.
No, it's not even a plug. It's don't take this, don't do that.
Real estate, we have a lot
it's
of
an
that.
attorney nonsense, but it is what it is. In closing, I'd like to thank my guest, Mr. Rob Davis of Monarch Homes, for joining us today, as well as all of you out there listening. We're growing by the week. It's cool. Got great guests coming on like you. You did a great job. I appreciate you coming on. So, and again, I'm Josh Knoll with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. This has been Focus on the 5, and you found us on WABF 1480 AM, located here in downtown Fairhope, Alabama. Have a great day. Rob, great job.
Thanks a lot, Josh.
All right, and that's it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Focus on the 5. If you are interested in learning more about Josh Knoll and Gulf Coast Financial Advisors, you can find us at gulfcoastfa.com, call 251-327-2124, email josh.knoll@gulfcoastfa.com, or message us on Facebook. Focus on the 5 is produced by Josh Knoll of Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. Advisory services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Inc., a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Pro Equities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Gulf Coast Financial Advisors is independent of Pro Equities Inc. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Focus on the 5 offers commentary and generalized research, not personalized investment advice. Show content is for informational purposes only and does not constitute a complete description of our investment services or performance. All investments involve risk and unless otherwise stated are not guaranteed. Be sure to consult a tax professional before implementing any investment strategy.